Over the past 3 years, while the Russian Federation has been waging a full-scale war against Ukraine, a series of mysterious deaths have been recorded among top managers of Russia's largest energy and industrial companies. The latest in this alarming list was Andrei Badalov, vice president of Transneft. Recall, Badalov said goodbye to life on July the 4th. He fell out of the window of his house on Rublevka and became the 15th high-ranking victim of the Russian fuel and energy complex, FEC, over the past 3 years. An analysis of the deaths reveals recurring and disturbing patterns. Many appear to be staged suicides, hangings, falls from heights, family dramas involving firearms, and in one case, death during a voodoo ritual. It is hard to dismiss such cases as coincidences, especially given that most of the victims worked in the energy sector, had access to classified information, or held influential positions. It is noteworthy that several victims represented the Lukoil company, one of the few in Russia that officially spoke out against the war in Ukraine in 2022. The Lukoil board of directors issued an open letter shortly after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, calling for a speedy end to the conflict. In a repressive regime, such a position looked risky. Among the dead were Ravil Maganov, chairman of the board of directors of Lukoil, who allegedly fell from a hospital window, the company's vice president, Vitaly Robertus, who died under strange circumstances at his desk, and Vladimir Nekrasov, also chairman of the board of directors, who died of sudden heart failure. In addition to Lukoil, the list includes representatives of Gazprom, Novatek, Gazprombank, Transneft, and even contractors working on Arctic projects. In a number of cases, top managers died with their families. For example, Vladislav Avayev and Sergei Protosenya were found dead with their wives and children. The circumstances of their deaths raise more questions than answers. 3 methods of elimination were used, especially often: hanging, falling from a height, and shots to the head. There were also cases of drowning, ritual death, strangulation, and murder by relatives. Some deaths occurred in pre-trial detention centers or in the Arctic. Taken together, these cases create the impression of a targeted purge, either an intra-elite struggle or a systematic elimination of those who could pose a threat to the Kremlin's policies or possessed unnecessary information. In wartime conditions and against the backdrop of internal tensions in the Russian elite, such coincidences look less and less random.
Ukrainian defenders struck the Vtorovo oil pumping station in Russia's Vladimir region during the night of Sunday, September 7, said Robert Madyar Brovdy, commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Fuel in Moscow will be a little spoiled, they say. The Vtorovo oil pumping station, Transneft, has spoiled a little. The oil pumping station that pumps diesel fuel to the Moscow Ring oil product pipeline, Madyar wrote. He clarified that the strike was carried out by fighters from the 14th Regiment of Ukraine's Unmanned Systems Forces. Gasoline is becoming a scarce liquid, while gas and oil are highly flammable, added the commander. The pumping station is operated by Transneft, a Russian state-controlled oil pipeline company based out of Moscow. Neither the damage caused by the attack nor the impacts of the disruption on the Russian capital were immediately clear. Ukraine has intensified long-range strikes against Russian energy facilities, targeting refineries and depots to cut into Moscow's war funding. The Ukrainian OSN Telegram channel Dnipro Osin published alleged satellite images of the damaged site. Drones hit the Transneft OPS of Vtorovo in the early morning of September 7. According to the available satellite images, we can confirm the damage to at least 2 tanks, the channel reported. Ukraine's military has seldom targeted oil facilities in Vladimir Oblast, prioritizing locations closer to the front line that directly supply Moscow's war efforts. Armed actions targeting energy infrastructure underscore the risks to fuel supply and the stability of transport chains in the region. Such strikes aim to destabilize logistics and create information pressure on the aggressor country, while emphasizing the need for strengthened monitoring of critical infrastructure. Furthermore, Ukrainian unmanned systems forces attacked a strategic Transneft facility in NATO Pavichi. The destroyed oil pump transported fuel from Belarusian refineries to Russia. Magyar noted that the facility is of strategic importance for the transportation of petroleum products from Belarusian refineries to the Russian Federation. In particular, from the Moser and Novopolotsk refineries. Gasoline is becoming a scarce liquid, and gas and oil are quickly flammable, the major emphasized. Russia has announced plans to strengthen its border with Finland by constructing new fortifications and barriers. The initiative, ordered by Russian leader Vladimir Putin, was confirmed by Deputy Chairman of Russia's Security Council Dmitry Medvedev during a visit to the Leningrad region. According to the Moscow Times, Medvedev stated that Russia must increase the reliability of border protection in response to Finland's membership in NATO. He claimed that construction is already underway, with walls and other barriers being built along the frontier. Medvedev also warned that Moscow must prepare for what he described as potential unfriendly acts from Finland, now a full member of the alliance. We will in any case prepare for what has changed, and in our relations too. Because we cannot ignore the fact that Finland is currently a member of the North Atlantic Alliance, Medvedev said. Walls and barriers are being built. We need to increase the reliability of the protection of the state border, he added. The official also pointed to what he called increased military activity near Russia's borders, mentioning the Baltic states, Poland, and Norway. Speaking after his inspection of a border crossing at Svetogorsk, Medvedev said that Finland's accession to NATO had predetermined changes in Russia's military approaches to border arrangements. The announcement comes shortly after the opening of a new NATO Regional Land Forces Command Center in Mikkeli, Finland, located just 140 kilometers from the Russian border. The headquarters, which began operations on September 1st, will initially host around 10 officers, with numbers expected to grow to 50. It falls under the oversight of NATO's Norfolk Command in the United States and will coordinate Allied land forces in Northern Europe, including joint planning and exercises. Finland formally joined NATO in April 2023, ending decades of military neutrality in response to Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Sweden completed its accession in 2024. As a result, NATO's land border with Russia more than doubled, stretching over 1,300 kilometers. Last month, Helsinki also announced plans to fortify its border with Russia by constructing a 200-kilometer fence, expected to be completed by the end of 2026.